Hello and welcome to Won't Be Forgetting That, a podcast talking about all of the most awkward and embarrassing moments people have had whilst working in the arts and entertainment industry. I'm your podcast host, Seb Muirhead, and today we have a guest. They are an actor, a rapper, a writer, Nikolai Egel.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate that.
Did I say your surname correctly?
Close enough.
Fuck.
Nah, it was pretty good. So that's, not too bad.
We can do multiple takes at the end if you want. I'll insert it. I'll get AI to say it for me. So thank you so much, Nikolai, as well, for coming on.
No worries.
At time of recording, I've had a little bit of a break from the podcast. I've been really busy, which is not a humble brag. It's unexpected, I'll be honest with you. So my apologies to all the beautiful perverts that are listening. I'm sorry that we've had a bit of a break, but we're back now. We're going to jump straight back in, same old show, which means I'm going to start off with the compliments. How are you with compliments, Nikolai?
Oh, look, I don't get them very often, so I'm very excited about what you're going to say.
Beautiful.
So
it's one of two ways. People really enjoy them, or if you're like myself, fucking hate them and just try and deflect and be like, no, you're probably wrong.
well, I
I'm
haven't,
shit.
like I said, it's been a while since I got one, so let's have it and we'll
beautiful.
see what happens from there. It's organic.
So massive congrats on your run on Neighbours, honestly,
Thanks, man.
which is... It's such a weird thing to say, but so many people's dreams as well is to get the recurring character on Neighbours.
Yeah, man.
When, especially, I'd say maybe more so around our point in our careers as well.
Absolutely.
Because you're like, not only, and it's a bit different. I grew up in Scotland. Did you grow up in Australia?
Adelaide.
Adelaide.
Yeah.
Oh, so kind of
Moved to
Australia.
Melbourne, yeah.
So it's like, Neighbours is a big deal back home where I'm from. So you're like, you get any work on there, you're like, fuck yes.
Yeah.
And then you get to be on it for, how long were you on it for?
So I've been on it. So on the main show, I
Yep.
did I think 8 or 9 episodes in 2019 through 2021.
Yeah.
And then they did a spin-off called E-High, which I was one of
Yeah.
the leads in for that. It was a 5-ep web series.
How fucking
which
cool
was
is that?
Yeah, it was cool. It was commissioned by the British channel that were doing it.
Yeah.
They just wanted more content, so they were like, okay.
Again, Neighbours is massive in Britain. It's insane.
It's crazy. And like it's funny. Every time I talk to people here, they're like, yeah, I don't watch Neighbours. I'm like, don't worry. It's
Britain's
British
got
people.
us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're the ones that are paying the bills on that one. So yeah.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And are you've done some more episodes recently as well?
I did one of the reboot
Yep.
in, I think, September. That's
Of last
been
year?
Out, yeah, of last year. It's been out since. I'm still technically in the universe,
Yep.
but because I played the science teacher at the high school and most of the kids aren't at the high school
Yeah.
nowadays, they've all grown up, there's not a lot of call for me at this point. But,
Right.
I am...
But not dead?
No, definitely not.
Yep.
And they made a point saying in the episode that I'm a full-time teacher now and that I'm at the school, so I'm still...
yes.
So, yeah, that was pretty exciting.
Can I ask, and also this came popped into my head, NCU, Neighbour Cinematic Universe as well. I had to say that, I don't know why.
Yeah.
But what episode did you do for your one episode return in the reboot?
I did the one where there was a riot at the school. It was a protest to keep the school open, and it evolved into a riot. Yeah,
That episode was there perhaps a couple of police officers standing at the door holding everyone back?
Yes,
That might have been myself.
I think I remember you doing
Yes.
that too. Because I remember saying, because there was obviously you have background in stunt work,
Yes,
obviously,
yes.
And I haven't done any official stunt work, but I have apparently. I'm just the guy like, yeah, he'll go do it. That's fine, whatever you need. I remember saying to some of the other extras that were
Yep.
around, because there was quite a few of them.
Quite a lot of extras that day.
I was like, look, it's a riot. I'm not, a sacred cow. Push me. Get into my back. Like,
Yeah.
it's going to make it easier for us to go through it. So
99% of the extras are great about that, and then that 1% is like, all right, that means punch him.
No,
Yeah.
well, look, I mean, if it helps the scene, let you punch me. If you
No
want.
extras, if you're listening, do not punch me in cast. Don't punch anyone on set,
don't do that.
actually.
Definitely don't. No,
But yeah.
ask before you punch someone.
Yeah, even then, sometimes
Yeah, nah,
people aren't
don't do
always
that.
in the best mindset.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny because we had a few people hustling and bustling, and we did have one extra that day as well who really wanted to get in amongst the action, and we're like, maybe just hang back a little bit. Fuck, he was excited.
Yeah, he really, really wanted to get it done. So,
Yeah, so I was just thinking, like, what a strange. So we've a first official meeting just now, I suppose, but we have stared across a lot of students' heads.
We've sort of danced around each other in the industry for a while, but
Literally.
nice meeting you in person.
In
finally.
person, yes,
Yeah.
there we go. Now, I like to ask people if they've come with prepared stories, but I know before the podcast you said, and I can see them just now,
Yeah,
you've
I've
got a
got a
few notes.
Yeah, not just for you. This is actually just my note file with lots of different other ideas I had as well. But there's plenty of stories.
Okay, I was thinking we have pages upon pages of stories.
No.
Okay,
And
that's good. That's
and
good.
Who knows how exciting they'll be, but I definitely have a couple in
Don't
the
undersell yourself.
All right,
That'd be
the
fucking
greatest
fantastic.
stories in the history of cinema and
Oh
acting.
God! All right, we edit that part out if they're not. No, I do want to start off, and I'm in a very privileged position for our podcast today. I have to say that I've actually seen some of your incredibly early work, and there is no judgment here because I have so many of these short films as well. But, and I cannot quite remember the name of it, Mr. Potter's Pies?
It was Purges Pies.
Purges Pies, yes.
And the character's name was Peter Purges.
Peter
Yeah.
Purges, that's it. My apologies.
that was definitely a time. That was...
Look, again, I am not passing judgments. That is for the general public to do upon us. But we have all done these quote-unquote opportunities.
Yes,
when we're first starting
yes.
out, you're learning. You're like, this will be great. I'd love to get any sort of chances, I suppose, on camera. You
Any
get to
roles
learn.
you can, yeah, 100%, yeah.
And you said that you were in Adelaide, and I believe this filmed in
was
Adelaide as
shot
well.
in Adelaide,
Yeah,
that's correct. Yeah, it came about. It was actually a really interesting story about that whole situation. Like that was my first acting gig.
Yeah.
I'd done had done a couple of other things before that, but I wasn't and still am a musician. I was actually living over in, well, not living, don't say that. I was over in the US and I was writing music with some friends of mine that lived over
sick.
there. I was over there for, about 6 or 7 months off and on. I'd come over, I'd go back, all that kind of thing. And I was writing, and I sort of fell into, as I told you, you said at the start of the podcast, I make hip hop. I'm a rapper. I've done that for a long time, still do. But because of that, I'm pretty good at lyrics. And being over in Tennessee, Nashville, where I was living, I was writing lyrics for country music for people. A couple of friends of mine are quite talented over there, and I was writing stuff with them.
Oh, holy shit!
It was really cool. And then I got sort of burnt out.
Yep.
And I still wanted to be creative, so I came back, and I realised that I wanted to act. I'd always done it in high school and stuff like that, and I loved it. And it was a different sort of creativity, so I thought I'll try that. And as it turned out, a guy who was my best friend since 10 years old, his father-in-law ran that show, and it was a TV show on the local community channel.
Yes.
Where a bunch of us would all gather in a park every Tuesday. They'd give us these scripts, and it was kind of like American Horror Story, where it was all sort of horror-based shows, and it was all the same cast generally, but we'd have different roles every week, so I'd switch between every season like they did on that show. And that was, the Purges Pies was one of them. But because they were knocking out a script a week and they weren't the greatest script writers, it was basically just like, do whatever you want, make it, here's what sort of has to happen, just do it how you feel. And that was really cool because I got to I learned a bit of improv, and I got to just get in there and do what I thought was going to make something better. And learning lines that fast really helped me coming into Neighbours, which was something like that.
Of course, because they're like a mile a minute as far as they're shooting.
Oh, absolutely.
However, unfortunately, when it's maybe a less experienced cast and crew, and when you're earlier in your career, things don't always quite turn out how you want them to.
No, they didn't. No.
It's an interesting short, and again, absolutely no judgment here. I have got so many of them as well. But some of my favourite things is just the complete lack of attention to detail from people that film things sometimes, because you're like, I can't hear what this character's saying. Like, he's over shadowed by loud trucks or birds, or the entire screen's blown out white because it's so bright. So we all learn. I just thought it was a nice thing. I don't know if a nice thing's the polite way of saying it, but it's such an interesting thing to see something like that. Obviously, seeing yourself from Neighbours, and then where you started, obviously. Yeah. It's funny to see that career progression before even having met you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that was the thing at the time. I didn't know how to act.
Yeah.
I'd never done any training of any kind at that point. I just thought, oh, this is fun. Let's go do this.
Yeah.
And I did. And luckily, I managed to meet a couple of really good people. One, obviously, Jess Ancio, who's
friend of the show, Jess Ancio.
Yeah, she did the same show. I'm sure that's the reason you saw it, because you did a play with her recently. She was showing it for that reason. Another guy in some of the episodes is a guy named Tim Hawkins. He's massive in Adelaide.
Oh, wow.
He does everything over there. Fantastic
awesome.
actor. Coincidentally have the exact same birthday as him, so we always call each other on the birthday every year to say happy birthday.
That's a bit nice.
So we've stayed friends for a long time. Every time I get back, I'd see him as often as I can. So,
oh, fuck yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
See, there is some, and there's always worse things to work on, obviously, but sometimes when you do work on the quote-unquote bad things, you meet some really good people.
Oh, absolutely.
And then it's just trauma bonding,
Yeah,
which
exactly,
I would rather just have nice bonding, honestly.
Of course, yeah.
But if you have to have trauma bonding...
Absolutely, as long as you can bond over something, it's nice. Because, it's especially the nature of this job is, you might be best friends with someone for 6 months, a year, being in such close proximity, and then there's a good and very real chance that you'll never see them again after that.
It's so weird.
Person. Yeah.
And it's quite, I don't know, it's a very strange thing as well, because you can be quote-unquote romantically involved with somebody in a production, and you're so super close on screen, and then afterwards you're rap, and you're maybe never see you again, bye.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't generally have that problem myself, but I'm sure that for good-looking blokes like you probably get it a little more than I do.
Stop it, Nikolai. You're on Neighbours. Do you know how many British women would be writing to you right now?
I've actually considered going over to England and just spending some time trying to act over there and seeing if it would take off. Look, to be honest with you, I think I was in that few episodes. It's only the hardcore fans would remember me at this point.
I don't know. We've had a few previous guests, friends of the show on the podcast as well, that have done, I'd say, maybe even smaller runs than yourself, and they have had some very interesting followers. Friend of the show, Carrie Made a Judge. I think she did maybe 12, 13 episodes.
Yep.
That show got her on Wiki Feet.
Okay.
Not through her own volition as well.
No, so, right, yeah. Well,
I don't know, maybe you want to check out Wiki Feet after this?
You do not want to see my feet, mate. And they very, very smartly put me in very closed-toed shoes the entire time I was in there.
Maybe that just makes people want them more.
Maybe so. No, you don't want to see them. They're not great.
Did you? We'll find a different avenue for revenue in that case.
Desperate need of a pedicure myself, to be honest with you.
Well, any pedicurists? Is that what you call them?
Podiatrist? I don't know.
I think that's a different one, yeah. Anyone that can work on feet, call in now. Yeah. But did you get a chance to hang out in the cast green room whilst you were there? Did you see all of the it was a few years ago I shot something else there. I had a little nap in the green room, don't tell anyone. But the amount of fan mail from Britain for certain characters like Tory and Dr. Carl is insane. Did you receive anything from overseas?
I did not. I didn't get too many fans. I did get a little bit of hate mail, not mail, but on Twitter and stuff like that, and messages because of an arc that I did a couple of years ago where I was at odds with one of the students, Emmett. He was a bit of a wild kid, and I was trying to teach him, and I didn't quite connect that way, and they kind of positioned me as a bit of a fuddy-duddy as a teacher, but I didn't quite think that's what they wanted to do, so it was a little bit, half one foot in, one foot out, it was, because I always thought, and canonically they say it in a couple of episodes, he's a good teacher, but then then it sort of felt like they were trying to say he's not a good teacher, so it's
weird mixed messages from him.
It was a bit of a shame actually, because we got the scripts. I was scheduled to be in a couple more episodes at that time, but then COVID hit, and I was really bummed because the best scene I ever saw written that I was in was in one of those episodes, and obviously Susan Kennedy was the principal of the high school at the time in the show, and we were at odds over a couple of things before that, you know, and because she was very, everyone's included, blah blah blah, and I'm like, well, he's 9 or 10 years old, he doesn't know his 3 times tables. I'm a maths teacher. I can't until he knows this, I can't do that. And then she did one where she was saying, oh no, but he's a child, so you have to reach out and do this. And I said, look, I've got 30 children. And she's like, well, everyone's included here at Erinsborough. And I'm like, well, the last person you said was included turned out to be a mass murderer and killed 2 people. And that literally is what it said. So it was maybe
in the script.
He actually called her out a lot in a lot of things. And then obviously because COVID hit, that cut a lot of scenes. And I never got to do that one, and I was really bummed because I was like, that is perfect for exactly how he would be too.
And that's also a great line.
Yeah, it was like, I think she said something like, the last person you included in the school was Finn Kelly, and how did that turn out for him? After he just literally murdered 2 people or something like that on the show.
Erinsborough High probably has a higher percentage of mass murderers.
Of course. I mean, that's the thing.
I don't know all of your interesting characters, so to say, but that's such... You never know. Maybe that script will come back around at some point.
I really hope it does. Although she's not the principal anymore, and the standing principal is Annie Jones. I can't remember the character's name. It's been a minute since I was back. But I remember that my character and her have quite a good relationship. So not probably going to be at odds like we were before, but it was fine.
Oh, never say never, but well, maybe less likely in that case.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. So we've got some prepared stories that we've came in with.
Yeah,
I have
absolutely.
any, or is there any way that you would particularly like to tell them? I don't know if it's a chronologically or if there's groupings of certain stories. I usually do ask for the most salacious story to be kept till the end.
Okay.
But I'm here to hear. I'm here to listen to whatever way you want to tell them. So we can jump right in with any of the ones that you have prepared if you like.
Look, so yeah, I mean, I didn't really have anything that's super salacious.
That's fine, and that's probably a good thing as well, honestly.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not that kind of person, especially on set. I try to be as professional as I can.
We'll try to be, but then sometimes...
Yeah, sometimes it does blur the lines a bit, doesn't it? But no, I was... One that I did remember was, funnily enough, another Adelaide story. And... it was about the time that I was just trying to get jobs for, some kind of credits, to see if I wanted to move forward. And I booked a student film.
Oh, cool.
A student short film, sorry, I should say.
Yep.
And it was a really fun time, It was a good cast. Everyone, the crew was really cool.
Awesome.
And the script itself... One big tell for me whether or not I'm going to take a job or whether I know the job's going to be a problem is if there's spelling errors in the script.
Oh my God, that is such a massive... Spelling errors, formatting, and if they send it to you in a Word document rather than a PDF, all massive red flags.
That is generally the thing, and that was all three. It was all three of those things.
The unholy trifecta.
But I was like, you know what? I need some credits. I'm going to go do it. And the other reason was, and I'm not proud of this, is the reason I took it. It literally shot around the corner from my house, so I can walk there in the morning.
Yes,
it's fine. Yeah,
I work. No, I should be fine to say this. I'm working at Dockland Studios just now. It's like a 10-minute drive.
Yeah.
It's a fucking dream. I'm so happy.
It's the best, right?
Yeah.
So I took this thing and I rocked up at this shoot and it was really cool, but I was clearly the older guy there. And this is when I was like 30. This is 10 years ago.
Okay.
So everyone else was like 18, 19, first year in film school. And it was fine. They were all very professional, everything like that. The only issue was that the director... and I say director in quotes because he wasn't really director. He was the director that was there, but he wasn't doing the director's job.
Oh.
But he was also the scriptwriter.
Oh.
And he was an exchange student whose English wasn't for his first language.
Right.
And it was really tough because I knew what he was trying to say, and all of us were, like all of the other actors were from that film class.
Yep.
I was the only one who wasn't because I was the only one who wasn't of the age of the characters.
Makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, I know what he's trying to do here.
Yep.
I'm just going to do it as I want to do it.
Yeah.
And this guy, and God bless him, I hope he's still doing it, but he would not... He was adamant that the words he had written were the words I had to say.
Oh, like by rote, so you have to say it word
it was
for word.
It was something like, it was literally like if you got AI to write a script now, and it was like, so it was technically right, but it's not how anyone actually speaks.
Yes.
It was like, hello, sir, how are you doing today? Yes, I am really requiring the rent from you as soon as you can get the money for me, please.
Yes.
Like, it was something like that, And I'm like,
I'm impressed you still remember the script. Well done, Nikolai.
It wasn't that. I remembered that I was like the landlord and I was trying to get the rent money from him. That was essentially what the thing was. And I was like, look, I'm just going to do it and make it so it's organic and exact. And he came over and was like, no, you will read what I've written. I'm like, dude, this is not English.
Yeah.
It's not English no one has ever said this sentence to another.
It's like a Google Translate version of it. Yeah.
That's exactly right. And I was like, because it wasn't the idea behind the script was really good.
Yeah.
And that's why I did it. But I was just like, oh, this is just painful for me. Right. And in the end, I said, like, you guys know him. Can you tell him that this is not how this is supposed to sound?
Yeah.
I'm going to do it as I'm going to. And thankfully, I did it as he wanted to do it because he's the one paying my bills, even though it was unpaid.
Not paying your bills?
No, exactly. He's the one who's giving me free lunch for the day.
Nice. Well, at least you got that.
Yeah, exactly. And then, funnily enough, about 2 weeks later, they called me and they're like, we lost the footage got corrupted. You're gonna have to come back and shoot it again.
What?
And I was like, no, I'm not doing it. You gotta find someone else. I'm done.
2 weeks later, the footage. That's why you back up. You instantly.
Yep.
Oh my god,
it was shocking.
That's insane.
It was shocking. I was like,
maybe
no, I'm out. Yeah.
Maybe a blessing in disguise, but that sucks for all of their hard work. And this is like anyone starting out in the industry as well. Back up everything. Triple back up.
Yes.
Instantly. I forget what they call it. As soon as you're done shooting, transfer all the data, essentially.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, like instantly wrangle the data.
Yeah,
That's it. Thank you. But yes, and like, because that can happen.
Yeah.
And then it's just for nothing. Mm-hmm. It's like, if the sound file's corrupt, not ideal, you can ADR. Video file's corrupt. Yeah, you're fucked.
Exactly. And that's the thing that sucks is, especially, you know, when you're doing indie stuff, you're financing this kind of thing. So you might have paid $2,000 to shoot in a specific location for a day. Then you've just wasted $2,000, you know.
And guess what? You don't have the insurance that big films have to cover that as well. You're just fucked.
Yep, that is correct. Yeah.
That is brutal.
It's tough, yeah. And I felt sorry for the poor kids because it was a school project essentially for them, you know. And I said, look, I just, to be fair, I did have some other stuff on at the time, so I didn't have time to go back and do it, but I also didn't want to.
Even if you don't, that's when all your acting skills come out and you have to be like, oh, actually, sorry, wait, what did you say? Oh, no, sorry, I'm double booked that day, I'm really sorry. And then you can see if they are like...
Oh, what about tomorrow? You booked the same day after.
Sorry, any other day in the future. I'm actually moving to Texas.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah. But that's I mean, that's sad as well.
Yeah, it was rough.
Like the funny, embarrassing stories, the sad, embarrassing stories. I'm just like, it was kind of funny, I suppose, until the data got corrupted. Data. I also don't know how I speak anymore as well.
Yeah.
But that's brutal. That fucking sucks.
Yeah, it was rough. So
valuable lesson for them though.
Absolutely.
At least you're doing it then.
Yeah, learn it in film school and try not to do it again in the future. So
it's exactly the same with acting, same with stunts as well, to be honest with you. You learn it in practice, so you learn it on your own little productions so that you don't do it on set, because that's a fucking nightmare.
Oh, absolutely.
You imagine if that was a large film that somebody just had messed up with and you're like, oh, you're just never working again, congratulations. That one small mistake. So
change your name.
Yeah.
go into the same industry with different name. Done.
Yeah, different name, just maybe move to, I don't know, Sydney or something like that. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Like, Australia's a tiny community, but it's also big enough that you can probably just do some bad stuff and move on, unfortunately.
Yeah, Melbourne seems to be a very tiny community, and
it's crazy, right?
It seems to be getting smaller somehow. I don't know if that's the case.
I think smart people are quitting the industry, and then it's just left with us.
Yeah, that's right. Who didn't get out when we could, but no. I mean, it's good that, you know, we're obviously similar sort of age, similar age bracket, and it's it's a little disheartening to see some of the best actors I've ever seen just, you know, not be able to keep fighting for the roles anymore and just sort of packing it in. Like, I think about like when I did acting school classes. I think there was about 12 or 13 of us, maybe 14 or 15.
Nice.
And I think I'm really the only one. And a lot of us all moved. This is all in Adelaide. We all moved to Melbourne together, you know.
Nice.
To do it. And some people found some success in it, and some people stayed, whatever. But you know, it's interesting to see that I'm pretty much the only one of that 15 that still does it. You know, everyone else is.
Do you still stay in touch with them?
Well, Brett, my old housemate, the one that I mentioned earlier, he and I are still really close friends.
Oh, nice.
And we stay in touch. Like, we lived together for 4 or 5 years. And,
awesome.
But he left to join the military, so he's away at the moment, I believe. So either that or he's ignoring my messages. So
he's got a good excuse.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm in war tomorrow, man. Sorry.
Right. Yeah.
But next week, also war. Yeah, sorry, bro.
I'm going to be in the South China Sea. I can't get you. Yeah, I can't play Xbox tonight, man.
I'm so sorry. No, that coffee that we had arranged, I just can't. Sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, he is that, and like pretty much everyone else is doing their own thing, but no one's really doing this anymore. So it's sad,
isn't it kind of? It's. I don't know. I'm really on the fence because I think, like you said, we're similar ages, and it's that age where it's like a really make or break kind of age just now. I feel like because there's still plenty of time for us to retrain and find a new career as well. But then it's like we're not getting younger as well, man.
See, the thing is, I like this last 2 years, I've actually felt like it's getting a little better for me personally.
Yeah, nice.
I'm coming into a point where I don't have, other than you, of course, as many as much competition for the roles that I'm going for. And since, I don't know if you noticed, I have shaved my head since.
I did notice that. That's a different look from the last time I saw you.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just simply because I'm getting older and it's getting a bit thinner, and I figured why not give it a go and see what happens from there.
Well,
So
I think as well, like when it is getting a bit thinner as well, it's like you can't really hide that, unfortunately.
Well, it's either that or you get a hair transplant. And, and I was thinking of doing that, but I haven't actually got the money for it yet because I made the inquiries. So,
all you need to do is book that one big movie role. And I am not outing anyone here because they spoke about it previously on the podcast, but Ben Knight used some of his Fall Guy money to get a hair transplant.
Absolutely.
So all you need is Fall Guy 2, whatever the next big
I would love to be in the Fall
here.
Guy movies or anything with David Leitch. He's one of my favourite directors at the moment. So, yeah.
Of course, love the guy, but like anything with 87 North, any of those guys. I presume they're listening as well, so cast both of us.
Yes, please, we'd love to. I've got some script ideas if you want to hit me up.
Yeah, please. I'll literally do anything, acting, stunts. I'll be a set runner. I don't care. Just give me some paid work.
That's right. It'd be great. But no, it's definitely changed the scope of roles that I've been put up for. I went from having hair and being cast as the funny dad to being giving roles as the funny dad to shaving my head. Now I'm getting all the criminal freaking hard guy roles, which is great because I love those sort of roles.
Yeah, they're very fun. So, and you're quite tall as well.
And like 6'4" or 193 centimeters.
And it's so funny. You know, an actor when they know their height in centimeters as well.
Yeah. And it's because I literally had to finish filming a audition this morning before I came here.
Oh,
so,
nice.
So I was like filling out the job form, and if anyone is out there listening to it, it was a day late. I'm sorry, I misread the date on it. So, but it was still open, so I've done it, and hopefully I'll get that.
May I ask? We can maybe cut this. Yeah. Is it for a safety video?
It was for it was for
okay.
It was for it was for a commercial on something to do with online shopping.
Oh, right,
I can't remember what it was.
I had one due yesterday as well for a safety video, which I was like, I can see you as this guy as well. It's tradie, essentially.
Well, it. No, and I do have one to do tomorrow, which I'm finishing up with a friend of mine, Em.
Nice.
It's for now this I won't say the details.
Yes, please don't, please.
Because it's for an American like an
okay, I know what you're talking about. Yes.
You know the one?
Yes.
Yeah, cool.
I have also read for.
Cool. Yeah. Finishing I did the first. It's 2 scenes.
Yes.
Yeah. I did one on the weekend, and then I'm doing the other one tomorrow.
Now I don't mean to delve into complaining about the industry. How many fucking pages did you have to learn?
There was like 7.
Yeah, I had 8. Yeah. And I had 2 American auditions last week at time of recording, both 8 pages.
Yeah.
And they were 2.5 days turnaround. And I'm working full-time on set just now, and I was like, well, I hope you want me holding my script in my hand and maybe not to the hottest American accent in the world, so... The reason why I did it with my friend Em, and I specifically, and I said this to her the other day, I was like, I need you to come and do this with me, because she has the best American accent of anyone I've heard. Awesome.
And she's really good at, and she's good at picking up on mine as well. So I'm like,
so jealous.
So I'm like, yes, please, tell me what I'm doing wrong. She's like, no, you need to lift your eyes a bit more.
Right.
And I was like, good.
Eyes in your words as well, I presume, rather than your eyeliner.
A bit of both.
Yeah.
And I tend to look at the ground just to...
I'm sorry, guys.
No, I'm really happy with the first one, and I'm hoping to knock out the second one tomorrow. So we'll see how we go.
Fingers crossed.
I'd love to do it because it shoots overseas, and I'd love to get a bit of holiday over there. So that'd be nice.
That'd be so good, huh?
Yeah.
There's a few projects coming up as well. I'm sorry, this is just inside the actor studio talk now. Yeah. We'll get back to the embarrassing stories, I promise, but there's a few things coming up where I'm like, give me that.
Yeah,
please
absolutely.
Give me that.
I'd love to do some of that stuff. Yeah.
I hate being this guy, but I'm going to tell you about one thing that I auditioned for afterwards, after the podcast.
Yep.
And I am so sorry to all the beautiful perverts listening as well, but I cannot mention it just now because I haven't heard back. Maybe on a later podcast I will.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yes, sorry, we'll continue with the embarrassing stories though. Do we have, and I mean, God bless them, I love them and I hate them, student films. Do we have any more student film-based stories? Because they are the... antithesis of embarrassment.
I don't have a student film-based story, but there is one thing that actually I find it funny, but I don't know if it is entirely funny to anyone but me.
Oh, okay.
But it's like I remember this has got to do with student, but when I was a student in high school, because I loved doing drama.
Nice.
I kind of never really thought of it as something I wanted to do.
Because often it's not really put forward as something you should do.
Exactly.
You're like, you play around dressing up, but become a scientist.
Yeah, no, that's right. No, because like in year 12
Yep.
and year 11, I did like maths and chemistry and English.
Yeah, me too.
And then I needed another subject in year 11, and a friend of mine said, let's do drama because there's all the girls in drama and all the pretty girls are in drama.
Classic.
And I'm like, fuck you, let's do that. And they didn't talk to me. No, they did a little bit.
They had to.
Yeah, that's right. So they made them do it. But yeah, so we did that. And as it turned out, my high school drama teacher, right, she had come to the school, and she only taught 2 drama classes. That was year 11 and 12, the 2 matricular ones, you know. And she, as she got us, we were her first year 11 class. So we were going to be her first class that she took through year 11 and 12 and to graduation. She had year 12 class. So I thought we were all really like close, and we were really close as a group. We put on a really good performance, even as amateurs, and everything like that. But I was thinking recently, and I look back, I'm like, she hated me, and I don't know why. And it was I remember this. I don't know if you did drama in high school as well.
So my high school never had drama. I took like weekend classes in the closest city to where I grew up.
Cool, perfect. So basically when we did it in our year 12, because we had so many people in the year 12 program, there was too many to put on a production with just one. So essentially what they did is they split it down the middle. They said half of the class is going to do their production in the first half of the year and then the theory-based stuff in the second half, and then the other half will do vice versa. So they put on 2 plays through the year, and half the class will do one, half the class will do the other. And we did the first one. So we did our play in the first half of the year, and it was great, and we had our bonding moment, and we were all really excited about it. Then went into the theory in the second half of the year. Now, I don't know if I have to tell you this because it's probably apparent by the everything about me, but I did not get laid much in high school. Not at all.
I think all of us that are interested in drama did not get laid in high school.
Well, that was the whole idea behind drama for a lot of us, but it didn't work out.
Also the irony as well, isn't
it?
Yeah.
Exactly. So we were doing it, and one of the things we had to do in the second half of the year was analyse scripts.
Right.
And one of the ones we had to do was A Streetcar Named Desire. So classic, right? Everyone's done it. Everyone's seen it. Everyone knows the story.
Which, as a high school student, you fully understand all the motifs and what's happening with the characters.
I was locked in for that. But I remember doing this one essay about it was about power and power dynamic, right? And there's one specific number of scenes in the script of the play where it says about Stanley assaulting Blanche.
Yes.
It's a major part of the play.
Yeah.
And in the play, it specifically says that he does it missionary style, and they speak about that and that was the whole thing of the power dynamic, the man on top, blah blah blah. And this was the thing is I read it. But then I couldn't, because I was so sexually inexperienced, I didn't know what missionary meant or what. And for some reason, I got it in my head that it was commando, not missionary. Because missionary and commando, being a missionary and being a commando, it was so I called it for this entire 4-page essay, commando style, and my teacher called it out in front of the class, saying, because apparently no one did a very good job on this particular thing, and so she was going through it, and I think she thought I was taking the piss.
Oh no!
And I was like, I was sitting there, she's like, and someone decided to call it doing it commando through the whole 4 pages, and I'm like, isn't that what it's called? And then everyone just started laughing at me, and I was sitting there just like, no, it's missionary. Oh, no, I've done that. Oh, no. And I just remember going red because in that moment I could tell everyone knew that I did not know anything about that.
That's it.
And I was like, oh my God.
No.
It was horrible. And I still have nightmares about that.
About commando style?
Yeah. I can barely play Command and Conquer anymore. It was but no.
Cannot watch Arnold Schwarzenegger's Commando. No.
It's I had to let off some steam, Bennett.
Yeah.
But no, it was one of those things. I just remember doing it, and God, it was horrible, and it almost soured me from the rest. That was it.
That's brutal, and especially because you obviously when you're analysing scripts and you're reading all these plays when you are younger,
of course,
it's kind of just presumed that you know what's going on in them, and as a kid, you're like, I can play any role. Yeah. Then when you get a bit older, you're like, no, of course I can't play that role. That's insane.
Don't even make me try.
Yeah, but then everyone's like, no, I understand Stanley and Blanche. Yeah, we can play those roles when we're 16, 17. And you're like, oh, yep, cool, man.
Yeah, that's sure.
So it's just that assumed understanding when you're younger as well. And some of the plays are just fucking awkward to read as well.
Yeah, it's yeah.
I remember because we had to do Shakespeare for English class as well, and they were talking about one of the sex scenes in Othello, I think it was, and they're talking about like making the beast with two backs and stuff like that. And they just had a very old, proper English teacher. She was like very stern, and she's like, "What does this mean?" And they're like, "Oh, I don't know," because you're trying to like. I don't know what the beast with two backs means. So you're like, is that a dog with two backs?
I've seen the TV show Cat Dog before.
Yeah, exactly, right? But that has one back.
Yeah,
and I was like, I don't even have reference to understanding this now. So yeah, like that kind of stuff. And like, you never want to ask your teachers about that. That's so fucking awkward.
And you're sure as hell don't want to ask your parents about it. It's
no.
Weird. I mean, I don't know if your parents are anything like mine, but I certainly wouldn't do that.
Right, and then you can't ask the other students because you're all pretending to know what it means as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're like, oh no, I know what commando style means. Missionary style means, yeah,
exactly.
Whatever
and
style.
At least now they've got the internet where they can just discreetly go, what is missionary style?
Oh, I mean, kids nowadays know more than I do, probably.
That's exactly right.
But back when we were growing up, I think we had a school computer in the library, but like the classrooms didn't have it, and they had insane firewalls as well that you could not get through.
About the only thing that we got to do in our school was when I was in year 7, Pokemon came out the first time.
Yes.
We had it on floppy disk and we passed it all around. We were playing Pokemon on the school computer. So yeah,
that's fucking sick.
It was fun. Yeah, I remember that.
And like, God, that was like prime Pokemon time as well.
No doubt.
I know it's made a comeback now. Whatever.
Yeah.
OG Pokemon was the best.
Yeah, it was the best. I mean, I still play all the other ones. I've got it at home right now as we speak. But
I just can't keep up to date. I'm a 151. I know them off by heart. The rest of them, I'm like, this kind of looks like a penguin.
No, it's funny. My nephew actually, because I've got a couple of nephews now.
Yeah.
One's about 5 or 6, and he's starting to get into it as well. And he called me up and he sent me a video saying, "Uncle Nick, how many Pokemon are there?" And I said, "Oh, geez. Well, I remember there was 151 when I was your age, but let me look it up."
12,000 now, maybe?
1,100.
1,100?
Yeah, so yes, yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, right. So, yeah.
And yeah, so we've got no hope.
Nah,
yeah.
not a chance. Not a chance.
Do you have any other...
There was one more that I...
Oh, yes. No, please do.
Funnily enough, this one, so basically there was... When I first started acting, and I went to go for a role, there was a guy, and once again, this is all in Adelaide. Most of the people in Melbourne are pretty professional, because I'm only moved
Some
over
of them
here.
are, yes.
Well, yeah. But
there's more professional ones to dilute the less professional ones.
Yeah. So actually, I'll start off. This one's not so much a story, just a fun thing. Like, when I first moved to Melbourne, I did a short called The Red Palace, which was directed by a really, really talented writer and director named Jenna Cosgrove. She still does.
Oh, I know Jenna. Yes.
Jenna? Yeah, it was one of her first shorts, and it was shot in such an interesting way. I love that film. Yeah, and it was the first role I got when I came to Melbourne. And I remember the specific scene that I was in. I was only in one.
Yep.
And basically, it was about 2 sex workers women who had escaped from their bordello or wherever they were set up, and they were escaping to better life. And I was one of 3. I was like the ringleader of me and 2 other guys that were like drunk and trying to hit on them because they were all in their gear, as they were walking down the street. And I remember we shot it in Collingwood, and it was in like a back street in Collingwood, at like in the suburbs, in the suburb area of Collingwood at about 3 a.m.
So lower production, or sorry, not lower production. I shouldn't say that, but like you're not closing off streets to shoot on and stuff like that. Not. It's just public streets.
Exactly. Yeah. And we're a bit worried, obviously, the girls being dressed how they were and what we were trying to do. Now, where me and the guys were, it was pretty lit up, obviously. It was set. But they actually had a couple of cops just circling at the time just to make sure that nothing happened. So I was really impressed by that. They were
paid by the production to do that? Yeah, oh, cool.
Yeah,
oh, awesome.
Just to say, like, because where the girls started, they started around the corner by themselves, and then they walked around the corner. And so they just sort of had some cops just like around the area, just keeping an eye on them, which was really cool. And that was the difference between when I moved from Adelaide to moving here. So even some of the productions in Adelaide, they didn't have that kind of attention to detail, especially considering this was an independent short. And we actually had just following on from that, we had this is part of it where we're drinking wine from a bottle, me and the 2 guys, and we're like, "Here, do you want some?" And then basically what happens is one of the girls grabs the bottle, smashes it on one of the guys' heads, and then they run after we try to be inappropriate with them, and They had 3 sugar glass bottles, obviously, you'd know.
Yeah. So breakaway bottles, essentially.
Correct.
Yeah.
And basically, the first one we grabbed, like, we passed it to the girl, and we passed it by the neck, and then it just fell off. Right. So that was two left. Oh. Second one, we passed it by the body. She grabbed it and she just went and smashed it. So we had one left to actually get it right.
Like, they're so fragile. But, like, well, they need to be, obviously. Yeah. But, like, when you're doing the motion to go and hit people, sometimes they just explode in your hands.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we only had one more, and we actually didn't even got into the part where we had the motion to hit him. So basically, we was like, all right. Just, it was like, do your best. And luckily...
Do your best.
Yeah. And so she had it, and she goes like that, and just goes like that and smashes with an open hand.
Yeah, right.
The guy's face. And you can actually see it in my reaction when he goes down. I was like... What was that for? My voice went up like an octave because it was actually such a high, and it looked so legitimately good. Yeah. And I was like, it was really.
That's
funny
great.
like that.
When you don't need to act in things, like it's just an actual reaction, so much easier.
It was great, and that was
like, well, let's start bringing the podcast towards an end. Do we have any other stories that we'd like to finish up with as well?
Not on that particular note. No, I think there's obviously some really good things. Like when you go to Neighbours and you go into the green room the first time, I would just like to say that I've never been in a more welcoming and kind group of people. And this is like around people who have, been on TV for 20 years. Like, literally, Jackie Woodburn sat down with me the first day I was there. And
shit.
And, she didn't have to. She's like, do you want to run the lines before the scene? Because I've never had anyone else run lines with me before a scene. Usually, it's you're all there, get on set, okay, what are we doing? Say your lines, done. Get off. Yeah. You've obviously done it. But she was sitting in the green room. She's like, do you want to run lines just to see how we do it? And she's been doing this for 25 years,
Well, I suppose, especially working on Neighbours as well, they must see so many people coming through with either, like, early on in the careers, or sometimes maybe even their first job out of like drama school or something like that. So they would see all spectrums of nervousness, overconfidence, maybe just people too shy to ask that kind of stuff as well. So that's so cool that she's so nurturing.
Absolutely. And the good news is that because I was quite good friends with 2 people who were already on the show. Yep. There's Zimmer Anderson, who played Roxy on the show. I'd known her through acting classes for a long time before that.
Oh, fuck yeah.
As well as a good mate of mine, Lockie Miller, who played Richie in both Ehi and on Neighbours. They'd both been in a few episodes of the show, obviously Zimmer for quite a while before that.
Yeah.
So they were pretty acclimatised, and by the time I got there, they sort of brought me in and made me feel really welcome. And it's one of those things that when you're on the show, it was just such a great and welcoming atmosphere that it's very difficult to replicate that anywhere else. And it's just because it's a machine, they know that they have to get everyone in there and do it
crazy, right?
In a certain way. So it was great.
I don't think we're revealing anything too much about the Neighbours set as well, but like it's like a compound, for lack of a better word, I suppose, as well. Like they've got their own canteen in there and stuff like that, and. Like, I don't know, is Cass, do you have to buy your own coffees?
No. Okay. Soft drinks, yes.
Okay.
But coffees, no. But the one thing I did find funny, and it's not the same now, but it was back when I first started, was when you go into lunch, cast and crew all go in and have their lunch, but the extras aren't allowed to eat lunch. No. They have lunch afterwards. So, I was like, it's kind of like a class system. I was like, that's pretty fun.
Really is, huh? I don't know about yourself. Have you ever worked extras work before? I've done a fair bit when I first started out in Melbourne.
I did do a couple of things. I did one for a film. It wasn't extras work. I actually became a named actor in it because I got upgraded a little bit. But for a film called Rabbit. Which was done in Adelaide. It was
with
Alex Russell and Luke Shanahan directed
it,
and Adelaide Clemens was in it as well.
Oh my god, who was the lead in that?
Alex Russell.
Yeah.
I think it's Alex Russell.
Is that what I'm thinking of? Yes.
He was in Unbreakable, I believe.
Yeah, right. Is the horror movie?
Yeah. Sort of psychological.
Oh, psychological, yes, sorry.
But I was one of the extras in that. I was in one of the first scenes, But I remember it was I reckon it was 3 degrees that day and raining and outside, and we had to sit outside.
That sounds like extras work.
Yeah, it was the worst thing ever, and we sat around for like 9 hours.
Yes.
Went in and did the thing, and then went home. I was sick for like a week after that.
Yeah, right.
Really bad.
Extras, and like, bless them, I've done a load of extras work as well. I did a load of TV shows and films here when I first moved into Melbourne, just to get a bit of experience. And it's like, you are just human furniture, and sometimes not even treated as well as the furniture because you need to like just be sort of shepherded around. The furniture's looked after a bit nicer sometimes because that's on camera more than you are.
Yeah.
And like you said, you're braked last for lunch. You don't get crafty a lot of the time. Good luck getting a coffee or even a water. And having moved on to now getting like smaller roles or doing stunt work as well, working with extras, I'm like, 5% of those extras are fucking great, and then a lot of the other time you're like, God, some of you are oddballs.
I do have one last...
5% was cruel. That's not true. Much higher than 5%. But yes, please, the last thing here, yes.
It's just following on from that about extras. This one didn't happen to me, but it did happen to my friend Brett. He actually did extra work with his father on The Water Diviner, the Russell Crowe movie, right? And Russell Crowe was in it, but he also directed it.
Did he? I didn't know that.
As far as I'm aware, he did anyway. But I remember Brett told me that they shot it was in South Australia. It was like 35, 40 degree heat. They're all in World War One attire, in trenches and stuff.
Wool and uniforms. Disgusting.
Shocking. But he did say that Russell Crowe, to his credit, went round to every group of those extras and said, listen, I know this sucks. I've done this job that you're doing. I know you're really toughing it out for me, and I really appreciate everything you're doing. And he went around to every single one of them. And because he knows as an actor, that's what
of course, it sucks. And as an extra as well, you're not going to be able to retire off that job. I'll be honest with you. You're probably getting paid about $30 an hour.
Get paid more than doing my day job.
I know, right? Like, genuinely, that's the irony of it all. But yeah, that's so nice. It's also nice as well that people that are directing come from like the performance background sometimes, because they know it fucking... Even if you're like the lead in something, or if you're in like a really good production, there's no way of not being cold sometimes, or not being miserable, or not being too hot as well. You're like, what are we going to make these woolen outfits out of instead that look period accurate? Like, you're fucked. I'm so sorry.
Absolutely.
You're going to be miserable.
I did a feature a couple of probably last year now, and it was in the summertime, and I was playing a club manager at a music venue, and essentially I have to just yell at one of the bands for not being on time or whatever like that. And I figured, he's a club manager, he's a bit of a douche. He'd wear a suit, so I'm in my full suit, black shirt, everything like that.
Oh, lovely.
And I didn't realise it was going to be inside the band black room, middle of summer day,
summer,
no aircon, because the aircon was so loud that, and in the scene you'll see, when it comes out, you'll see I'm just pouring sweat the entire time.
Does it work for the character though?
It does work for the character. It does work for the character.
But that does suck for you as well. I fully accept that. Like, that does suck.
It was
also
shocking.
I don't know why in the film industry they love to shoot summer for winter and winter for summer.
Oh yeah, shocking.
Stop it. Just shoot winter for winter and summer for summer.
Yeah.
It's so much... Oh, yeah, anyway, sorry. It's just me complaining about working in the industry now.
Yeah, shocking, isn't it?
I'm not complaining. I love it. Please give me more jobs.
Absolutely.
Yes, but sorry, Nikolai, thank you so much for coming on.
No worries.
Where can people find you? We'll link some of the Neighbours episodes in the show notes as well. What have you got coming out as well?
So I've got a small part in a film called My Melbourne, which is premiering at the Melbourne Indian Film Festival. The premiere is August 15th, so it'll be next week.
Sick.
So I'll be there if anyone's going to be at that. Got a couple of other short films and features in the works.
Nice.
Shooting some other stuff at the moment. But yeah, just check out the socials. I'm sure I'll post about them as it comes up. If I get another run on Neighbours, I'm sure that'll be nice. But not holding my breath yet. We'll see how we go.
I'll be the first one to watch that. Where can we find you on the socials as well?
Instagram and Twitter is at Nico Egel.
Perfect.
Nikoegel.
Awesome.
Facebook is just my name.
Yeah, nice, easy.
Pretty much. I'm not hard to find, so it's
nice having and I say this with a person with a funny name as well. Having a funny name because all your handles are available.
Yeah, absolutely. Funny, Nikolai isn't my real name. Nicholas is my real name. I changed it. It's the whole thing from Nikolai was my hip hop name growing up.
Oh, cool.
Now I go by the full thing in both senses.
Yeah, so, nice. Yeah, it's just easier to find you. And you know what? Lots of people in this industry don't have their real names.
Yeah,
as
exactly.
Well. Yeah. But thank you so much again for coming on.
No worries. Thanks very much.